Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. You can find all of our social media stuff and everything else in between at Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Well, Joe,
Yes.
we're gonna yes, very direct, very direct.
Yes, sir.
Today's show is about what?
So we're going to talk about American distress. So you've seen all the things that have been going on, and not just one particular thing. It's whether it's politics, whether it's the LBTG. They got so many. Yeah. Whether it's them, church, religion, whatever it is, there's just so much going on in America today that is making it seem like we are not in the right path. We're not in the right state of mind. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So,
all right, sounds good. Well, let's get into it. Okay, everybody, welcome back again. Here we go with America in distress. So, Joe and I, off camera, were talking about something that I thought was really something good to talk about based on everything that's been going on. And if you're on social media, a lot of folks that are on the right, conservative side, Republican or whatever, you'll see that they changed their, whether they put a picture up, their what do you call it, your icon picture or whatever.
oh yeah,
your
MILF. Oh wait, no, it's not a MILF.
That's a whole different subject right there. Different show. So you got to pay $4.95 a minute for that show.
A minute.
I don't even know if they do that anymore.
So, your little icon, whatever it is.
Whatever
profile.
It is. And
there it is.
There you go. See, getting old, man. Forgetting
man,
the
you ain't
word
wrong.
profile.
Oh my god, who forgets those?
Well, you got so
I
many
profile
names for
people.
some of
How would I forget the team profile? You know what I mean? I'm just kidding.
So folks are putting upside down American flag, and that is, for the folks that are doing it, they're doing it for basically the title that we have this show, American in Distress. But there are folks, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're one of them that kind of disagrees with that whole thing. And
I do, and let me tell you why. And I understand the whole, especially after former President Trump was indicted for 34, actually found guilty of 34 felonies for something that has been happening with politicians going to back to Clinton and then Obama, and of course all these payments that are being done.
Right.
And usually, people turn a blind eye. It's a president. Clearly there's some things going on. So I get the whole distress thing, but to me and to the thousands or millions, I should say, of Americans who have fought in wars, who have represented our country through the armed services, I feel it's a little bit insulting, and let me tell you why. Okay. Again, I get the distress part because, the injustices that are happening in America today by the people who are supposed to be protecting us, right? The politicians, the government. I get that. But here's my beef with that, and I think it's something that we all could stand behind, and I know you would. But if we go back to when the Star Spangled Banner was put into existence, was when I can't remember his name, was out there looking at these rockets being sent and shot down, and trying to destroy that American flag that stood there as a representation, because they knew, hey, as soon as that flag is on the ground, we won, we've taken them, we've destroyed their morale,
right?
We're gonna win. But here's the thing: through bombing and shelling and shooting from dusk to dawn, our flag still stood. But you know what the interesting thing that held it there, and people wondered, like, why is it all cockeyed? Why is it sideways? Well, it was the bodies of Americans who identified as Americans, because this is a new country, that held that flag in place. As they died, other people replaced them. They didn't move the bodies. They didn't have time. So it was held on there by the blood of patriots that didn't want that flag to touch the ground because they knew the moment it did, it would represent the failure of America, right? The downfall that the English have won. And we didn't let that happen. We stood by that flag, irrelevant to what was happening with politics or whatever was happening in the colonies. They stood by that flag, united together, and they held it up by the dead bodies of Americans. You know, and so to me, that's important. To me, that's you look at that flag and it's a pride, not a pride that's a sin, like according to the Bible, not a pride like the sexuality that the LGBT community is praising, but a pride that you say you stand back and it's like that flag represents what I believe in. That flag was held together by people that have died to ensure that that flag never stopped waving. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to me, it's an honor to be an American. Now, I honor my Mexican culture. I love it to death. But I'm an American, and I honor that flag and what it represents. And that's what I mean by pride. Again, not that pride where I'm going to bow to it and I'm going to do all kinds of things that you shouldn't be doing, right? Because it's against God's laws. But in a pride where I stand and say that I understand what that means. I understand what it took for that flag to still today continue to wave up high. You know, and at one point, that also represented that this nation believed in God, you know. So
that's right.
So that's why I think I have that kind of tore in between. Like, I get you guys, we're in distress, but don't let the American flag be the one to show our distress. You know what I mean? I think it's important. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so just a little side note to that. The Star Spangled Banner was written back in 1814. And in September of 1814. So this September will be 210 years since its founding and since its writing. So when you think about it, this year's very, there's a lot going on this year, right? And I agree with you. I understand the side of where, the country is in a distressful moment because we have politicians and people that are using power that they have. And the thing is that a lot of folks would say, well, everything that's been done against Trump, he deserved because he was evil or, a criminal or whatever. Now he's technically a felon, under the whole system and everything. And just like you said in the beginning, well, there's tons of politicians that have done crazy stuff. Like, you mentioned Clinton.
Right.
Paula Jones, that payoff was $150,000. Well, where's that indictment for him? And I don't think, I mean, he was a president and everything. I don't think they should bring that back up and I don't like Bill Clinton, but I don't think they should come back up and indict him for it. However, because, this has been done to Trump, you've set a precedent. So why wouldn't you go after previous presidents for it? So they've opened a dangerous floodgate for things to come down the pipe,
So let me ask you this. Sure. And I know you I'm sure you know the answer. Now this is just, do you know what treason is?
Yeah.
Do you know if it's a misdemeanor, a felony? What do you think that is?
Well, technically, treason is the punishment is actually death.
So it's a Class A felony, right? Mm-hmm. You know how many delegates signed the United States Constitution? 39 delegates.
Yeah,
there 39. Was 39 people who would be considered Class A felons for treason.
That's right. Yeah, against the crown. Well, and the thing is, just like you said.
So you know what? I'm voting for one, bro. You could, I'm voting for 39. I'm voting for one. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. When they signed that, it was not only a felony, and treason was punishable by death, especially back then.
By hanging.
Yeah, by hanging. They signed their death warrants to the king. Because basically they were saying
powerful king.
They were giving their middle fingers to the king, that was across the ocean, of course. And you made somebody really upset. So the thing is that England, Spain, France, they all wanted the colonies. They all wanted Mexico, what is now today Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted this area over here for what? Natural resources, right? Most of your stuff that was being sent back in the beginning of those days was cotton and tobacco. Those were two of the biggest trading things, and everybody that starts to complain about, well, it's all the, people that lived here that created slavery. That is completely untrue. There were already slaves in Europe. And what they did is they said, we need more production in the Americas.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? Well, we already have slaves over here. Let's just ship them over there, and we'll get the plantations going and all that. And that's where all that stuff started. That was a European import.
Yeah.
The people that were here that started in this country, why did they leave Europe? Europe was a great place, right? No, they left there because they couldn't, depending on which country you were in, right? You had like the Protestants and the Catholics, right? In like Scotland and England and all that, they all fought against each other just because of religion, right? Because of a difference of opinion in religion.
Right.
Those people didn't want to deal with that anymore. They wanted to come to a country that they wouldn't have to, deal with that. And then you fast forward to when we had our tax, and everybody knows about the Boston Tea Party, and we chucked a bunch of tea into the, and what was that over? 2%? Call it 3%. It was a 2 and change. Call it 3%. 3% tax. How much are we taxed nowadays?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well over 40% for the
So,
average American.
I had my I misspoke. It wasn't the Constitution. The Constitution was clearly done after. I was talking about the Declaration of Independence, which was actually 56 members that signed their death warrant, not 39, 56. So when they declared unanimously in one voice, we're not part of them. We are starting our own, and they signed it. 56 members became guilty of treason at that moment. Right? They could have been killed immediately. Instead, they created this great nation of ours. And again, that's why I find that the whole flag thing is kind of disrespectful, because people have died because of protecting that flag. And just for what it's, think about it. It's like me thinking like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to save that lasagna, because that's my favorite dish. I love lasagna, and I'm going to stand my ground and say that lasagna took forever to get it here, and I'm going to protect it. And I'm talking about food. Right. And I'm talking about food. Of
course you are. Of course you are.
Of course I am, Fat Fatty. But now think about just what a flag represents. So a lot of people today, flags mean, but there's thousands. You can go to a corner and buy a Trump flag or a F. Biden flag. You do all these flags everywhere. Cowboys flag. You could go buy just so many different types of flags. But to think that one flag represented that to live or die, I'm going to stand and hold that flag so it doesn't touch the ground. I'll die for it. I'm like, where did that patriotism go? Where did it go? Where you see people burning the flag nowadays, you see people disrespecting it. Like, I get it. You're not honoring the flag. Like people's like, you can't bow to. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about respect, right? And the respect not of the government. Clearly, we can't respect a joke like the government. But we're talking about respect for the people who stood behind that flag and what it means to them and what it should mean to us, right? Because we're all those crybabies, the LGBTQs and the Antifas and the Black Lives Matter, all them little crybabies. The only reason that they're allowed to go out there and burn down the entire world is because of those men and women who stood behind that flag from its conception to today. That's what's important to me. Like, everything's going haywire. Everything's going crazy. You have these anti-Israel, pro-Hamas people fighting, and they're all the colored hair people, the funny colored hair that, gays for Palestine. I'm like, bro, do you see anywhere in the world or in the U.S. Muslims for gay? Do you ever see that? No, because you will die in Palestine. You're not doing anyone a favor. Trust me. Well, if you're gays for Palestine, go do that over there. See how that goes. Because they're going to be celebrating something. I'm telling you.
You've seen what's happening lately, right? Where
they're clashing with the pride people. I'm like, huh?
Because the thing is the pro-Hamas people feel anybody that is trying to outdo them on their protest is being disrespectful to them. Well, this is Rainbow Month, so
Hey, let them deal with that. You know what I mean? Let them deal with it.
Yeah,
and
well,
let the
that's
cards
the thing.
fall where they lay.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is that they need to understand that you're supporting something. One is you don't truly know what's going on. Two, you're supporting something that is in halfway around the world, that those people do not care one way or the other. If you were protesting, you were pro-Israel or pro-Hamas, doesn't matter. They don't care, because you know what? The people that are actually going through nonsense, those people that are starving or their innocent families are being hurt or killed or what have you, they're not worried about your stupid sign. If you want to do something, go over there. Go to a place where you can, put meals together that are going to go over there. Which, here's the crazy thing: they've already done that, and guess what happened? Most of those supplies and things like that just supplied Hamas, because they're not giving that to the innocent people.
No.
They're going to take that from them, right? So, yeah, it's foolish. And you kind of going back to the whole flag thing and flying it upside down and everything. One of the reasons that, another example, I guess I would say, is, remember when all this stuff happened with I don't even want to mention his name, the San Francisco 49 player, which he's not with them anymore. And
big crybaby. Big crybaby.
Yeah, big crybaby. And he kneeled on the field to make and honestly, I don't have a problem with the guy having a protest against something, but he did it during the national anthem, right? Which is, man, it's against so many things that, so many people have died to get that spoiled little shit where he's at today, right? And
his white adoptive parents. Because remember, his parents abandoned him.
Right. And he's making all kinds of money, right? And the only reason he's the way he is because he gets involved with some girlfriend that's like a wannabe Black Panther kind of, an extremist type girl. And he's doing it all for,
the putang.
Getting her pants. Yeah.
The putang. To say, bro, the putang.
And it's so silly,
Yeah.
And the guy is literally,
he's
ruined his career. No, he hasn't. He has
no
zero cause.
But here's the thing about that, Jay, and you made a good point. He kneeled during the national, which is so disrespectful on so many levels. But you are a NFL quarterback. You have one of the highest platforms where you could sit there and talk on your social media platforms during interviews and talk about your grievance, right? Your whatever they are, whether it's the injustice of police brutality, whatever the case is, from your experience, right? Not from the behind the camera, not edited video, but from your own experience, which he had none. He was raised by two white folks, and he had the best upbringing. Right. No one messed with him. He had no experience. Let's be honest. But your platform that you have, huge, but you want to take it at the most critical time that So what is your point? And that's my thing. My question to you: what is your point with all these protests? Are you trying to unite people, or are you trying to divide people? Because at the end of the day, the only way you could get anything across anybody is by uniting them with one common front, and that's it. That's all you're gonna do. And the way to divide people is always go against the country you're in. That's the way you're gonna divide us. America needs to burn and Palestine. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and send food to Palestine, and we're going to go ahead and gather you folks too, and we're going to send you with that food. And let me know how it goes. That's what we need to start doing. If you support Palestine, go to Palestine. If you support Israel, go to Israel. Here in America, we support America.
So riddle me this. Let's say for a second, and I think we did something similar to this. Israel decides, you know what, we don't want to deal with the Middle East anymore. We're moving over here, and we're getting a piece of land, like the middle of Australia. Nobody's living there, right? And Australia agreed that in the middle of Australia can be Israel from now on. So now there's no more problems there, right? So you're telling me that Palestine is going to be this wonderful country now, right? There's no more Jews, nothing to. So Palestine, how many other countries and places and people are they going to help? Zero, right? They don't care about anybody else.
You know.
And the thing is there have been Arab leaders that have said this. Multiple Arab leaders have said the same thing. If it wasn't for Israel, right? Israel is a common enemy of the Arab states, a common enemy, and they need that. They need that common enemy because they have said the same thing, that if Israel wasn't there, all the Arab nations, not all of them, but a lot of them, would want to kill each other, right? Because now they don't have that enemy. They need a different enemy. And they're always trying to, and that's the same thing with our protests and things in the United States, is that when there's not one thing, there's another, right? Because a year, 2 years ago, what flag was everybody flying? A yellow and blue flag for Ukraine. Everybody was flying that. And then
ridiculous.
All of a sudden, that doesn't matter anymore. Palestinian flags everywhere because that's the new hot spot. That's the new thing of the day. You know, it's the new cool Nikes that you want to get now. The old ones are not cool anymore. And for this month, what was it was the pride colors, right? Because you go through a month of all that. So, and the thing is, for me, like Pride Month, for example, if you're going to be prideful of that, are you going to relegate it to a single month? Why would you do that?
Right.
You know, have your pride in your whole thing. My problem, and we've talked about this, my problem with Pride Month, okay, and all the celebrations of it and everything, is it's a sexuality deal.
Oh, right? Absolutely.
So there's, should people be prideful about different sexualities and stuff like that? Now, your lifestyle and everything that you want to live, I get it, right? And I don't agree with certain things, but maybe somebody that's a vegan doesn't agree with somebody eating meat. Doesn't mean you're going to go burn down their, house or whatever. I guess they do throw paint on really expensive pictures when there's...
thank God they're covered.
Stuff for that. Yeah, these dummies. So I did want to bring something up. And this is, President Trump was indicted, right? Mm-hmm. Or actually found guilty.
Found guilty at 35, 34, 36. I can't remember.
36. Yeah,
was it 36? Damn. He a real thug, bro.
He is.
Tupac ain't got nothing on him, bro.
He beat out Martha Stewart, and so him and Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg are all going to be hanging out doing Bic lighter commercials pretty soon here. So, so
he better come out. He better come out with some prison tats, a couple of teardrops. I don't know. He better come out with some Thug Life stuff on him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da. So when that all came down, did you hear about all the people rioting and burning and looting and stuff?
Oh yeah, bro. Gosh. Oh my God. There was so many buildings destroyed in Washington D.C. In I believe in Washington State, Portland. I think all the two conservatives in Portland, I think, took over the coffee shop and would not leave the restroom until President Trump was released. Bro, there was nothing going on. You know why? Because we don't behave that way. You know what? It is what it is. You know what? We believe at the end of the day, the law is the law, right? But we believe at the end of the day that the true justice would come out. And what I mean by that is, okay, look, if you want to find him guilty for these things, and if it was a true crime, then don't just stop there. Begin where it started. Go back to Clinton. Go back to Obama. Go back to Hillary Clinton. Let's look at true evidence, real evidence. Don't adjust statutes of limitations just to take. Don't do any of that. And what the law is, what the law is. So if you're gonna be straight across the board, all right, it is what it is, right? But if you're only targeting a political opponent of a party that you are not, that you are for, like the Democratic Party, then clearly it's wrong, right? There was no real law-abiding intention behind that. It was, we're going to destroy you because you're going to beat us at the polls. So we have to find ways to stop you. And it's, what gets me the most? It's so blatant. It's so like out there in your face that America is like, you know what I mean? People are, right. In fact, what I saw more was people celebrating of his conviction than I did anything else. And it's so sad to see that we've come to that. And that's why I think this podcast is important. It's not just about the flag being waved upside down. It's how really in reality there is distress going on in America. We've lost our connection to God. We've lost our connection to what, and it doesn't mean, hey, everybody go out there, believe in God. If you're not, we're not Hamas. We're not Hamas where we think we need to eradicate Judaism. And that's not our goal as Christians. Our goal is like, have value, have some kind of morality, right? And to us, God was our morality. God was the direction that, look, guys, you might not believe in God, but there are some rules set based on that religion that we should follow as citizens of a peaceful country, right? We lost track of that, right? It's in our coins. In God we trust. It's in our money, for Christ's sakes, right? It was in our Constitution. It was in our independence. It was everywhere you look at it. It was about a belief in a greater power, not human power, not government, above that, right? And that's where our core values is. And that's what we lost. Let me take you back, for example. I was raised Catholic, right? I used to go to every Sunday. I got my communion, my confirmation. I did all that, right? I found some girlfriends while I was going to Sunday school and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But here's the point of that. My point behind that is that, we'd go to church. We did what we had to do as Catholics. My mom was a devout Catholic. I was the one kid that was sat next to her, got pinched for my brother's attitudes. That was me. But you look back at what catechisms or what the Catholic religion is today. You have the Pope welcoming gay marriages, welcoming like transgender people. Like everything that goes against the Catholic belief has been now, let's be open, right? Like, dude, you are totally going against what that is, what being Catholic is. Most recently, I don't know how long ago, that you've heard, what the United Methodist Church is, right?
Yeah.
So last month, they actually welcomed. They changed the rules or something about I think it's gay marriages or something about, I don't know what it was. So
it was over same sex.
Was it that's what it was?
Rules.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so that the United Methodist Church is everywhere, not just America, right? It's global.
There's like 1 million people have left it already.
Exactly, 1 million people left the moment they changed. And and I saw this thing. It was like I said last month, and it was like it was a United Methodist Church from Africa. They're like, dude, we're done. Like this, like, how do you go against your own values? That's what that's the hypocrisy that we're seeing today in America. Like when the liberals were like the conservatives are today, none of this would be in existence. Like, dude, what happened to the liberals of your grandparents? Like, what happened to that? If that means like two political groups would be like liking each other. We're like, hey, we have the same belief system, man. That's great. Now we're really just going to focus on what that individual candidate is going to bring us, instead of like, oh no, you're this or you're that. Like pointing fingers, like we've come today. Like, could you imagine if we both had those moral standards, those values of family, of respect? Both parties had that. So all we really had to decide was like, who was the best candidate? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to bring better taxation or less taxation, I should say, to us. That's what. But now we have to look at like, oh, this guy, they're not going to prosecute him because he's too old and feeble. He doesn't understand. Well, he's running the country. What do you mean he doesn't understand? Right? This guy, look at it. He paid people off and he's a convict now. He's a felon and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? The same thing that Bill Clinton and Barack Obama did? The exact same thing? And what's her name did? Hillary Clinton, that destroyed evidence for other things. Those people, like, the hypocrisy is beyond my belief, and I just, I don't understand. What were you saying?
You think about the Bush family. So you had like Dick Cheney and Bush, weapons of mass destruction,
none,
and all this kind of stuff. And we went over there and bombed the crap out of a place and sent ground troops and our ships offshore. I mean, we'd sent cruise missiles in, all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And what did we find? You know, and so those people aren't going to be brought up on any kind of charges for killing tons. Like all you Palestinian people, where's your energy at for that to go help those Afghani people and all those people that got the crap knocked out of them, right? Tons of people died because they're trying to find one guy, right? And the weapons of mass destruction. Well, they didn't find that. Right.
Well, because I think what was the problem was Saddam Hussein was trying to create his own monetary value and going away from the banking systems of the world. So they didn't like that.
They didn't like that.
Oh, we got to find something to go. I mean, come on, let's be honest. And then what do we get out of it? We got oil. We also got oil. So
that's natural resources are the
people go to war for that.
Yeah, that the world runs on, and it's. You know, one of the reasons that the whole climate change thing is such a big deal is because if we can get everybody on electricity isn't a natural resource, right? It's a man-made resource.
Right.
So we can control that and we can control people under that. If you have private institutions, oil companies and things that can bring oil from the earth and refine it and everything and create stuff that can create energy, whether it's coal oil for, heating and oil lamps and stuff to petrol for, cars and diesel and everything else. That is harder for a world government to control.
Yeah.
Right. And now
that's why Wakanda stays hidden. Have you thought of that?
So I don't know if you saw kind of recently in Mexico, they were having like a little bit of a shortage in fuel, especially towards the border. So a lot of those guys were having issues with that. And,
that's probably because Americans were going down to the border and getting gas because it was cheaper.
It's cheaper. Yeah. But that is state run fuel.
Pemex.
So,
Pemex. It's in the, it's
Pemex.
in the word. Yeah. Petróleo Mexicano. That's what Pemex is.
Yeah. And, you have one good side of it, maybe that it can be controlled where the amount isn't going to go up because that's their oil and it's not, they're not buying from all the big petrol giants and OPEC and all that. But then you have the problem if the government, the state wants to say, well, we're going to ration it, we're going to cut it off or whatever, they can do that pretty easily.
Well, it belongs to them.
So, yeah, it does. So you have the positives and the negatives to it. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really glad that oil companies or gas stations have the run of where I can go down to Buc-ee's, QT, or Circle K, right, and get gas, and there are different prices, and I can pick which one to go to. Because right now, the way we are running, I would hate for our country to say, you know what, we're getting rid of all gas stations, and it's all going to be USA gas.
Mm-mm.
Right?
I can't. Dude, I can't.
No, it would be terrible. It'd be a terrible idea.
Horrible.
Because
I can't trust them as far as I could throw them.
No, the government already, fumbles everything that they do, and prices go up. So companies can, build things, make things, design, come up with ideas and things like that. The only reason that prices start to go up on stuff like that is through regulations, different kind of regulations. The government wants a nickel of everything that ever gets done. So they, are going to tax or, again, regulate whatever that thing is, that widget that you're going to put out into the public. And it stifles creativity, right? It stifles it getting going, because the problem is, just like back in the day when Tesla kind of first got going, Elon Musk said the people that will buy the Tesla, was the Model S? Was that the fast one, the big one or whatever?
Sports.
It was it was like $100 and something thousand for it. And he's like, if we can get enough of these going, we can reinvest that money back down, and then we can get ones that are down in the $60, $50, $40, $30,000 price mark, as you get more. And you know what? Was he right? He absolutely was. They're much cheaper now. Like, I don't care to have one or anything, but he was running
I'd rather get a hybrid than
I would too. I would rather do a hybrid than a solid electrical car. But anyhow, these are the things. The government is nothing but stupidity when they make law, because these people are lawyers, right? They're not business owners. They're not business people. And that's a big problem with a lot of this stuff. They don't care about the businessman and everything else. And for all these dum-dums that are out there protesting, and they're saying, hey, we want the rich to be taxed more. Well, you idiots, everything that you own, from your cars to your cell phone to the clothes that you have on your back, is produced by rich people. And guess what? Rich people don't pay more in taxes, and rich people don't pay more in all that stuff. So when I say that, I'm not saying that their tax rate doesn't go up and all that kind of stuff. What happens is if they have to pay $10 for their overhead, and now they have to pay $100 for their overhead.
Comes on
Where
us,
do they get that money
the
from?
consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets pushed down the line, and now instead of paying that $10 for whatever that product or good, you're now paying an extra $90 to compensate for what they have to pay. They are not paying anything. So every time you say tax the rich and all this kind of stuff,
you're taxing
you're
us.
just and the government loves it. They love it because they're going to get it from you no matter what, because you're dumb enough to think.
Let's think about it. The government they're not stupid. The especially Congress. They've done such a good they've done such a good plan in making
I beg to differ with a couple of them. They're pretty dumb.
Well, I'm being sarcastic. But here's their genius view, right? Congress isn't there to serve the people. The Congress is there to serve themselves, right? So you
to stay elected
to serve themselves. Yeah. So here's the reason for that. Congress has been broken down now for years into subcommittees, right? Into smaller committees that run healthcare, that run energy, that run secrets, that run just different things. And each one of those, now keep in mind, when a businessman or a company wants to develop something new, wants to go and have to go to the government, to a subcommittee, to a committee, they're selling their stuff to them. They're answering questions. You know what the committee sees? They see dollar signs. They're saying, how can I make money out of this? You know what? And these companies, they want to start up. They want to create things. They want to, how do you do that? You got lobbyists. Hey, man, look. They're not going to say this in front of thousands of cameras and in this subcommittee in this chamber about what they want. But look, you're going to get X amount of shares of this company. And if it takes off, you're going to be rich. That's how they do it, right? That's how they get rich, because of the lobbyists that represent these companies that in turn, they're making decisions. And I'm not just sticking about liberals or the Democrats. There's Republicans in there as well. Heck, and they're talking about getting rich. And like when you start saying, oh, we're going to get a cut. Jay, they've been doing this for years. You don't think there's a way that they create a shell company over here? All right, but I can't own that because I'm part of this committee. So it's going to go to that shell company that belongs to my son or that belongs to my husband, but that's part of his company. But, please, there's ways around everything. My dad found ways around things. You know what I mean? He was a migrant worker. You're going to tell me that these guys can't figure things out? Come on, man. The government's not here to help us. That ended years and years ago. Years ago. The government's here to help themselves. And how do they do that? By screwing us more and more. Mm-hmm. And that's because it's all about financial gain. But here comes this one guy who's a businessman himself, who sees through all this and says, nah, that's not the best thing for America. Let's change that around. You guys are getting rich off of people. What is wrong with you? You serve a nation. You serve the people. And you're getting rich off of them? Get out of here, right? And he starts exposing people. So what is your biggest threat? That one man. So now as a united front, both liberals or both Democrats and Republicans, they form a backdoor united front and say, we got to get rid of this dude. Because he's clearly, he's what's the worst thing that could hit somebody? Their pocketbook, right? Yeah. You're hitting my pocketbook. Well, that's the problem with America. It's not Trump. It's not, it is Biden, because he can't even walk down and flight of stairs. I mean, the guy falls going upstairs, not even down. But anyway, the real threat is the one dude who's not a politician, the one dude who really cares about America and what it represents. That's the biggest threat. Think about it. Yeah. The guy who truly, out of years and years, the one guy who said, I'll never get into politics unless the people want me to. The people wanted him to. He did a great job. No, you could sit there and cry and he there is
tweets. I don't like his tweets.
there is a list of accomplishment under his presidency. Look it up that he's done an accomplishment. Whether it's a safe space for a woman to breastfeed her child in an airport or giving money, he did all that. He did the small, or he created the biggest bill to conserve our natural resources, our lands, our parks, our national parks. He did all this. The red man, the orange man, the scary guy, whatever you want to call him. He did so much for this country in his short term, more than any other president, because any other president was about filling his pockets. He already had money. He didn't need more. In fact, he didn't take his check.
He took zero salary.
Right? And he came out poor. The dude came out poorer than what he went in.
He is the only president that left office with less money than
so
when he entered.
The problem,
think about that.
The problem isn't Trump. The problem is America. The problem is that we've allowed ourselves to become so consumed with money. And that we've allowed this, and this is what the distress is happening. Now we've allowed for us to open our ears to all the BS that the media throws out, all the BS that the crooked politicians throw out, that our focus has gone elsewhere. Our focus has gone into the trans world, into this new rolling LGBTQ that has overly consumed the OG LGBTQ, right? The ones that really fought for like true things, right? To be married, to have health care, to adopt children, the real causes that they wanted. My hat's off to them. This new one, they're just tyrants. They're just starting fights where they shouldn't. They're hateful people, man. And that's what's wrong with America, is that we've become a nation of hate, where we were a nation of love, bro. Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember Woodstock, man. It was about, it was about having fun and a good time, And unfortunately, it's only when tragedy occurs. Against war, anti-war. I feel bad for our poor veterans that came from Vietnam that were never even welcomed. Never welcomed here, And we still owe them a big thanks, because they just went to fight a war that the government wanted them to fight. That's it,
Right.
And in turn, they got treated like they got spit on, they got rejected, they get so many horrible things. But that's another story. But like I said, we've gone away from being a nation of love to a nation of hate, and we don't even know why we hate. That's the worst thing, bro. They don't even know why. No clue.
Well, I tell you, everybody knows about North Korea and can say as bad of things get, about that country. And I saw this meme, and it says, in North Korea, people are forced to listen to propaganda. In the United States, we listen willingly to CNN, to ABC, to Fox News.
Sheep.
And, oh yeah, man. And the, and just the regular media, where you have, all the stuff, all the girl power stuff and everything. And then you have the pride stuff. So you're telling me you're going to tell women to empower themselves, yet you're going to have a group that says, well, men can be women. So you women shut up and sit down. I know you're supposed to empower yourself, but I mean, all of this stuff.
Not today, girls.
Not today, girls. So it is just like all this nonsense that is forcing one person to be against the other. The thing that I know that there is a fear in those people that are at the top in politics and a lot of these big businesses and stuff that have the lobbyists and everything, is the fact that when everything came down for Trump, all the people that were there, and they were of every ethnicity. There was straight and gay, Hispanic, Asian, black, white, whatever, all there hugging each other, raising exactly what you said, the American flag, right? Because that's our pride flag. That is our pride flag. Absolutely. That's our true colors. And America. And the thing is we are the only country in the world. Now you think about this. Kind of leave you with this. So we moved to Iran, right? We moved to Israel. We moved to Russia.
Anybody?
Moving?
Oh, okay.
Us. You and I.
Man.
If we moved to Iran, and become citizens there, are we Iranian?
Mm-mm.
No, we just have a citizenship there, but we're not Iranian. If we move to Israel and we get citizenship there, are we Israelis?
Mm-mm.
No. If we move to Russia, pick a country. Anybody that moves to the United States and becomes a U.S. citizen is what?
An American.
An American. So all these people that are fighting over all this BS, because I can't, like, if I move down south to Mexico and get dual citizenship or whatever, get a citizenship down there, I'm not Mexican.
Oh, you'll be a paisa. You'll be a paisa, all right.
Güero.
No, you'll still be a gringo. You still be a American,
Right?
Living in
Right.
Mexico.
You're still yeah, exactly. This is the only country of the world. Think about it. Like, seriously, contemplate on it for a minute. It's the only country of the world that people move to, and once they have their citizenship, they are an American.
Here's the thing,
Plain
Jay.
and simple.
Everyone knows that. That's why they cry and complain, but they don't move. They're still here. Let's be honest.
All these people that hate this country so much refuse to leave it. Yet people that don't even hate the country, they still love their country. It's just not providing for them, right? They leave those countries. They still maybe love their country. That's not providing for them and or their families, and so they leave. People here detest this. Oh, this is the worst country in the world, and they are still here. You are.
But you know what? Just one quick note on that. I've seen people who come from like Venezuela or Cuba or things like that, where they're like, "I love this country. This is the best country in the world." They're not even from here, and they love this country more than people who are privileged to be born here, and that's sad to me. That's sad to me because that's a bunch of disrespectful, unappreciative people to me.
Yep, I would trade 10 of our disrespectful, hating college spoiled brats for one of those people from those other countries that just want a better life, come here and love this country for what it is. And again, you don't have to hate where you're coming from. You're just, that this is a better opportunity for you and or your family. And 100%. I mean, it's crazy.
I would take a cute little Chihuahua for Colin Kaepernick. I really would. I'm just saying. I love Chihuahua.
Well, maybe we'll work on that.
Yeah, Merc.
That's funny. He's got Chihuahua hair, anyways. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, and that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. We come here every Tuesday,
every week,
and do our thing.
Yeah, we do.
Also, we have Outspoken Men's Edition that shows up every mid-month Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So please join us for that also. And hopefully you guys subscribe, share this content with others because we enjoy doing this. It's stuff we would talk about anyways, and we just figure we talk about it on air. So, well, with everything going on, everybody, make sure you take care of one another.
Remember, do better, be better.
And as always, God bless America.
See you next time.
See ya.